video, we're going to talk about multi-step inequalities. And again, just like one-step and two-step inequalities, multi-step solve just like multi-step equations, except when multiplying or dividing by a negative, you must flip the inequality sign. So let's review the steps to solving a multi-step inequality. 1, distribute. Use your distributive property. Make sure you are distributing to everything inside of those parentheses. 2, clear your inequality of any fractions. 3, get the variable on one side, get your numbers on the other. This is if you have stuff on both sides of the equation, or of equal sign, inequality sign. And then get your variable alone. Isolate your variable, because that's how you're working to solve. Then, of course, you can graph. Alright, so let's do a few examples. I've worked a couple out already. This is example 1. Okay, so we had 2 times t plus 2 minus 3t is greater than or equal to negative 1. So what did I do first? I'm going to distribute my 2 to everything inside of the parentheses. So 2t plus 4 minus 3t is greater than or equal to negative 1. Okay, so I've distributed. Now I'm going to combine my like terms. So I can combine the 2t to the negative 3t. Because remember, whatever symbol is in front of the like terms means I push them together. So I have 2t plus negative 3t, that gives me a negative 1t, and I wrote the 1 there just to help you remember. Negative 1t plus 4 is greater than or equal to negative 1. So now it's just a two-step. So I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides. That gives me negative 1t is greater than or equal to negative 5. From here, I'm dividing by negative 1. When dividing by a negative, I've got to flip my sign. So I'm going to flip it over, and I get t is less than or equal to 5. Okay, so now let's look at another one. Again, I have the distributive property. It's just later in the problem. So I'm going to distribute my 2 to both of my numbers, which gives me 4p plus 2p plus 14 is less than 8. Now, I can combine all my like terms. That gives me 4p plus 2p. Here's my like terms. And I get 6p plus 14 is less than 8. Now, that's a two-step inequality. We know how to do this. Subtract 14 from both sides. I get 6p is less than negative 6. Divide both sides by 6. I have p is less than 1. Those weren't too bad other than the distributive property. So now, let's look at another one. Let's look at one with variables on both sides. So in this case, I need to rearrange it so that I have all my variables on one side and all my numbers on another. So I'm going to start by moving this 4z over here. And I'm going to move my 15 over there. Well, let me rewrite this first. So now I have 2z minus 15 is less than 11. Okay, so now it's just a two-step equation. So I'm going to move my 15 over there, so that I have 2z is less than 26. And now my last step in isolating the variable will be to divide both sides by 2. And I'm not dividing by a negative, so I don't need to flip my sign. So my answer just becomes z is less than 13. That one wasn't so bad. I really just had to move one thing in order to get everything where I wanted it. Okay, so let's look at this last one. This one's a little nasty because before I can start shifting variables from one side to the other, I have 2 sets of distributive property issues. So I need to distribute this negative 3 everywhere, and I need to distribute this 4 everywhere before I can start working. So first, this side, I'm going to get negative 12 plus 3m. Where did that plus come from? Because negative 3 times negative m gave me plus 3m is greater than 8m plus 4. So far, all I've done is distribute everything to get rid of my parentheses. So now, let's do some movement. I'm going to subtract 3m from this side and this side. So if I rewrite it now, I have negative 12 is greater than or equal to 5m plus 4. So now it's just the two-step. I'm going to subtract 4. Subtract 4. So that I end up with negative 16 is greater than or equal to 5m. And now, and I'm going to end up with a fraction, that is okay. Divide both sides by 5. And again, not dividing by a negative, so I'm okay. I end up with negative 16 fifths is greater than or equal to m. And I'm just going to leave it as a fraction. And that is how you solve multi-step equations. Inequalities.